Hi, it's Missy McCall with your Retire with Real Estate team. It's a market update. It's October 24th, 2023, and we are trying to give you just a quick update of some things that are changing in our markets and things that we hope to do to make your life easier. So the first thing we really want to talk about is the housing market is changing. I think most of you have a pretty good idea that our interest rates have rose considerably from about 4% to almost 8% in some markets, which definitely has an effect on housing. However, it's still a great time to invest in real estate because the same houses that rented for $695 when interest rates were 4% are now renting for $1,095 and sometimes even more, or maybe just a little bit less. But the market is starting to move. And when I say the rents are changing, it's not city by city or neighborhood by neighborhood. It's really street by street. And we wanted to kind of, as we like to do, get ahead of the curve and design a system that will allow us to change rents and not have to contact you every 2 weeks, because really what we want to do is every 2 weeks evaluate where your property is with being rented. So first, as most of you know, when a property goes vacant, before it's even rent ready, we start immediately advertising it on our website and the many other websites that our software sends the homes to. So rent ready, we're going to be doing market testing. What we're going to ask you to do is let us set the rent high, and then with your permission, the first time, not every time we change it, set up a system that says we're going to reduce it by $25 a month or $50 a month, or do a move-in special or a deposit special, anything that we can do to quickly get that unit ready and rented. So what we will be doing is sending you out a system when your property is vacant that allow us to take those active steps. And again, we're going to be looking at how many people are looking at the property physically, how many are applying online to rent the property with an application, and then how many people are actually going to see it. If we set the rent at $1,200 and no one wants to see it, we know we're obviously too high. And we're going to just, again, adjust that at least every 2 weeks, sometimes a little quicker if it's going to be a quick turn. So with your permission, we look forward to rolling out that program to you in the next 2 weeks so that we can do a much better job getting your property rented in a changing market, because our market is changing. The other thing we need from you is the ability to reach out to you and talk to you. There are urgent property issues. We're going to talk in the later part of the video where we have had more fires in the last 2 years than we probably have had in the last 10 years. And we want to be able to let you know the status of that as soon as possible. Many of you that have had a fire know that I try not to contact you until I have a solution, which is we're going to have the insurance company out there looking at the property and working towards making an offer of a settlement. But those kind of important issues, we're finding that we haven't always kept up with a good email, a good phone number. So we're going to ask you through a web form to update us. The web form for just names and phone numbers doesn't have to be as secure as when we're asking for account numbers and social security numbers and EINs. For those, like the W-9, we're going to send you an Adobe form that you'll fill in, and it has a couple of permissions on it, which I know you don't like, but it keeps your information safe. You only have to fill out that information if you've had a change of address, a new name, or you've changed your property from your personal name to an LLC. In those situations, the IRS requires us to get a new W-9 from you. But again, the rest of you, if nothing has changed, please just ignore us. And we'll know that you don't need it. The emergency contact information is critical because unfortunately, we all have times when we're not available. And we want someone that can kind of stand in the gap and give us direction. I'm stopping to take a drink. Please edit that out. The emergency contact is for when, again, when you're on vacation, you're in the hospital, a family emergency happens, life happens to all of us, but we need to be able to contact someone. And we're just asking for that permission to try to help keep your property moving along so you don't lose more money. So those are the updated contact information that we need. And the next thing is, I think we're finally starting to breathe. Those of you that have been so patiently waiting on us to answer your questions, this week we're almost caught up, and I'm excited about that information. We've been slower to respond than we ever have been, and a lot of it has been rolling out 2,500 new property management agreements, which none of us, including you, have found to be very much fun. In the beginning, we had huge software problems. We recognized when the state of Ohio helped us that some of our information was outdated, and there was legalese that we were really missing in our management agreement that would really give us both great protection. We've been really hardcore about this because the state of Ohio requires us to be, not because we want to be hardcore about anything, because trust me, it's no more fun than it is for us than it is for you. So out of 2,500, we only have 10 to go. I know Myra and Clara have both reached out to you in the last 10 days to say, please tell us how we can help you get this signed. The website is here in Appfolio. That is your portal. If you can't reach it there, please email one of us and let us know it's not there for you. We'll send it by carrier pigeon, by mail, by email, whatever we need to do, because we have been holding your distributions and we really don't want to know. We really don't want to do that. So please let us know how we can get those last 10 signed. And for all of you that dove in and did it immediately, thank you so much. The next really exciting thing is that Appfolio has given you a dashboard very similar to what we see when we're looking at our properties. This is a dashboard that lets you see at a glance how much rent has been collected, how much is occupied, and then they've added some really great things that we use internally. So you'll see your statements are here. That's your owner. That's normally what you see in your owner's portal. Now it'll be on a dashboard with a simple click. You'll see transactions that are happening, inspection reports. So remember, those have to be made live. We don't have to email them anymore. They'll be right there for you to see anytime you want. The reports that are new, there are 4 that we're going to go over in the next 2 slides. The properties, you'll be able to see your property's performance at a glance, which I think is going to be wonderful for you. If you have a turn or a major maintenance expense, you can go to this dashboard and make your contribution to pay for your expenses. And then finally, the last tab is maintenance. And we're going to go over that in the next slide because I have a few things to say about that one. So the software advancements, this is the email address that you can see. The best time to pull these reports is first the delinquency as of. Normally, that's been an email that we send about the 9th of every month, depending on when your weekend is. But now you can go in and we suggest 3 days after the 6th, again around the 9th, because that gives the tenant a chance to get their eviction notice, which goes out on the 5th, and encourages them to contact us and let us know if they've made payment arrangements, when they're going to make their payment. And of course, we always review that before we make a renewal offer. The second thing you'll be able to look at is your lease expiration detail report and your rent roll, which gives you even a little more information than before. And again, this is a great report to review before you review your renewal offer, so you can see how your tenant's been performing. The dashboard, again, gives you everything in immediate time, but understand between the 1st and the 30th, there's often changes. You know, a lot of times contractors will use the same template. They may put the wrong address on a property. We go back and correct that. So if you see changes, please know that we're in the background working to make sure that your portal, your expenses are 100% accurate. We still make mistakes. If you see something that doesn't look right, please reach out to the Just Ask email so that we can investigate and make sure it's done. But also don't call us every time something changes, because we're seriously in there digging, trying to make sure that we're doing everything that we're supposed to do. Insurance updates. Insurance is a constantly changing industry. Our account is different than most accounts because all of you are on my portfolio account, then you have some special pricing. So most insurance costs about $120 a square foot for replacement costs. We're fortunate enough to use an $80 mark, and with our pricing, that's typically enough. If you want to talk with someone, Claire Trammell is our in-office National Real Estate Insurance Group agent. She can answer all of your questions. National Real Estate Insurance Group is a little backlogged, may not be as quick, but Claire is there to serve you. So any insurance questions you have, please reach out to her. Plus, there's some other really important things that are happening that we have a general email. So if you want to apply some of the new things that we have, the core home insurance email is always available for general insurance questions. TPP, which is your tenant protection program, the email is tpp@corehomeinsurance.com. And then anytime you need evidence of insurance, you can reach out to that email. The insurance industry has had more losses in the last 2 years than they have in many, many years. And there may be add-ons that you want to consider. Most importantly, how much is your coverage? When we have a fire and you bought your house 10 years ago, you may have bought it for $59,000. Today, it would cost more than $59,000 to rebid or to rebuild. So what you want to do is make sure you know what the limit of your policy is. And then if it needs to be increased, Claire can absolutely help you with that. But because of some of these coverage limits, remember the tenant protection plan? So in addition to if your tenant moves out and forgets to pay rent, that you have up to $1,000 worth of coverage, and they haven't fulfilled the life of lease. If the fire is actually, a child playing with a candle, something that the tenant unintentionally caused, there's an extra $50,000 in coverage that will go beyond your policy. So remember, that's available to you for a very low cost. Many of your mortgage companies require you to have loss of rents. Many of them don't. So loss of rents happens if you have a fire at a property. It's not unusual for that property to be vacant for 6 to 9 months. And the mortgage company really doesn't recognize that that's a fire and nobody's living there. They expect you to make up that payment. So the loss of rents is up for up to a year at an additional cost. It's kind of an extra layer to your policy that you can add. Another one that they've added recently is service line coverage. That's for sewer lines that we know they break, they're underground. They're anywhere from $4,000 to $15,000 to have repaired or replaced. So that's another coverage that's a very minimal cost that you can add to your policy. Again, remember what your policy limits were when you purchased your home. Homes have increased in value. And we know that since COVID, material and labor costs together have increased about 40%. So please make sure that you have exactly what you need in case there is a disaster, a fire, something bad that happens at your property. And remember, the email is below. You can always reach out. Next, we just finished the big tax season, that thing we all love to hate. But in Ohio, as well as the state of Ohio, we have a state and a city tax. And many of your accountants have missed those. So I'm including in the email a list of contacts for the cities that have an insurance, I'm sorry, income tax that will need to be paid to the city. Now, if you're in a township, you don't have to pay those taxes. Fairfield Township, Springfield Townships, there's little Washington Townships and Dayton. There's townships sprinkled all over. You'll know that because that is also many times your mailing address. But when all else fails, ask your accountant to call and check these city officials and make sure that you really do have to pay them. So again, coming in your email, you'll have an emergency contact form. You'll have that secure W-9, and you'll have your city tax contacts so that you can make sure that you're making those and you're not getting penalized. In addition, a copy of this webinar, of course, and for those of you that learn better by reading, I have some more detailed slides that Claire was kind enough to put together for us. So thank you for your time today. I hope this has been informative. We value you and our tenants as the most important part of our business, and we can't do this without you, of course. We're going to try to keep you more informed more every day that we go along, and hope to hear from you soon too. Thank you and good night.